Yesterday, I learned something quite confronting about myself. And I feel the timing of all of these lessons I go through in my life are so perfect and also pivotal to then share, particularly on the podcast. And essentially, yesterday, I had a really transformative in-person session with Liz and Katie, who are my mentors and have been for over 6 months. And I realized as I was sitting in the session, I haven't had a personal goal for the longest time. And the reason I'm even sharing you this whole story right now is because I want this to evoke something inside of you. So we're sitting at Liz's kitchen table. There's butcher's paper everywhere, Sharpies. It's beautiful, sunny weather outside. And we're sitting there back and forth, and they're asking me, what do you actually want in your life? And like this overly simple question, I feel can really stump a lot of people without them even realizing. And this whole episode is going to be focused on how your comfort zone is actually harming the hell out of you. And I realized that for the past 3 or 4 months, I have been sitting in this comfort zone without even realizing. And it was purely because I didn't have an incredibly huge goal that I have been locked into. And this episode is going to help you find out what yours can be.
Welcome to Start Somewhere, the bingeable podcast for the ambitious, self-development obsessed who know they are meant for more. More money, more freedom, more fun. Each week, I expose the sexy truths about manifestation, feminine mindset, and rituals to keep your body and lifestyle thriving. I'll show you how to move through change like it's your runway moment. Welcome to our grounded space to becoming self-obsessed and seducing your own life, where we start with the first step, not the entire staircase. Let's start somewhere together.
I actually want to take you through a bit of a visualization in this episode. So whether you are driving or walking, or perhaps you can be in a place where you can actually close your eyes and lock in, this is going to work for either of you. So I want you to just firstly imagine that your next version self is walking into the space that you are in right now. Whether she's sitting in the car next to you, she's just walked into your home, or maybe she's walking side by side with you on your walk. I want you to imagine, what would she actually be telling you to do right now that you are not already doing? I want you to also ask her, what are some things that you need to immediately change in your life to help you get closer to where you want to be? And the thing is, these questions are all well and good when we actually know what we're working towards. And so I really want you to lock in and ask yourself, if nothing was bad or wrong, what would you truly want? And I want to also give you the permission slip to also tap into something that has some money value towards it, or maybe it's materialistic. And I feel oftentimes, and I hear this a lot with clients I speak to, we're in this purely for the impact. And I feel like I've actually said this on previous episodes. Impact is so important, so is community and creating connection. And at the same time, how can we anchor in a goal that is also going to be linked to you actually creating more money in your business, more money in your life? I feel oftentimes we can get, stuck in this good girl, good boy mentality where we're like, oh, I'm just in it to help people, and not actually put the value on your expertise as high as it truly is required to. And so coming back to this visualization with your higher self, I want you to ask them, what are some other standards or boundaries that you need to create as bigger, bolder, or stronger in your life? So where can you actually be saying no more? How can you be so much more like razor cut clear with your time? And I am going to share what my big goal is that I'm working towards. The amount of energy that this goal is giving me, everybody in my life who has seen me in the past 24 hours is just witnessing this huge, huge surge of energy, this huge shift in me. And it brings me so much joy. And the thing is, it was a goal that I actually wasn't allowing myself to fully receive and to fully even dream of. How crazy is that? I feel so often we can say we want these certain things and we actually put them just at arm's reach. And a really, really simple starting step for you listening right now, even as you have your higher self with you, what risks can you start to take? And the thing is, when we can think of our comfort zone, I want you to think of it as 3 different layers. So the first one is your comfort zone. The second zone is the second is your stretch zone. And the third is your panic zone. And typically, everything we could ever desire and dream and want is sitting in this panic zone. And that is purely because you don't have it in your life yet, in your reality yet. So how on earth can your nervous system have the capacity to hold that. And whether you've delved into the whole world of like nervous system capacity regulation, all of those fun topics, it actually took me quite some time to fully, I guess, integrate those into my reality and to actually make sense of what they mean. And the thing is, we can say that we want to have this certain life. And I actually did this post on my socials a few months ago, and it was really apparent to me how many people it truly resonated with, because it was all about saying you want to have this like incredible, successful life, whatever that means to you, of course. And at the same time, if your nervous system, if your subconscious mind doesn't actually deem it to be safe to hold, there's no way it can even come into your world. And the things that have really been helping me recently with continuously up leveling and growing is how much I can actually expand my capacity, how much actually I can grow my visibility to hold so much more with what I want in my world. And you might be thinking, okay, how do I actually start? So this can be in such simple ways in our everyday world. How can you start to insert yourself more like in the society, in your community, in your daily life, off of social media to expand that visibility muscle? Let's look at it as a muscle. The same with like intuition. I've spoke on this in like such old episodes all about manifestation, that your intuition is a muscle. So think about when we go to the gym, we're training a muscle for it to get stronger and stronger. And so it's the same concept, right? So we can map that back into how we can actually expand our capacity, expand our visibility. It's these constant practices and habits repeated over time that are going to help you to achieve that. And so let me just share what this big goal is, because I'm putting it out there. I'm telling a lot of people in my world, and it only makes sense to share it with the podcast. So as I'm recording this, it is mid-March. And for the next 3 months, so starting from April, May, and June, I'm going to be embarking on a 90-day sprint. And I don't mean outside in the world running. I mean in my business. I am locking in a whole new way that I am beyond excited for. And the thing with me is like when I have the action steps, when I have the vision as well, I go. And I feel this is typically the state for a lot of people, because I say this a lot as well. The only difference between yourself and myself is mindset. If you actually know what it takes to achieve the goal that you truly want, you will take the steps to get there. And this is exactly the work I do with my clients. This is the work that they get to walk through step by step personally with myself. And it actually is stupidly simple how easy it is to create success. Whether that's impact, whether that's money, whether that's attracting love, whether that's attracting or calling in whatever it is you truly desire. And so when you can get behind a vision or a goal and essentially think of it as like we're directing like so much energy towards it, because we have such a clear action plan and such clear steps to take. So the goal I'm calling in, what I'm working towards with this 90-day sprint, it's extremely materialistic. It's something I have not given myself the chance or the moment or the space to even think of before. It's like I was actually keeping it just at arm's reach. And when Liz and Katie were asking, Belle, what do you actually want? I was like, I don't know. What do I want? Like, it sounds ridiculous. And I was almost getting frustrated with myself that I didn't know the answer. And then it hit me. I was sitting there at the kitchen table. I saw my car outside the kitchen window on the road, covered in dents, covered in scratches. I've had this thing since I was 17 years old. It was my very first car when I got my license. It even traveled with me from Adelaide all the way up to Queensland. I even gave it Queensland number plates. I am working towards buying myself a Mercedes convertible. Ooh. And the way I'm stepping into this vision, the way I'm directing so much of my energy and so much of my next level self into this is impeccable. And so let me explain exactly what I'm doing. Yes, I'm mapping out what exactly needs to happen in my business in order to create the money I need to make this goal possible. And the fun part of that as well is who actually is that version of me that has that car, that has that convertible, that has that as part of her identity. And this is the work that I see missed so often when it comes to goal setting and I want to do this and I want to achieve this. And I was even having a conversation with one of my clients this morning about this exact concept. We were just mapping it back to her brand, where she is starting to step into more of this vision, more of this identity, and how she's showing up online. And it's like, okay, how can you start to be that version of you now? If you want to be a content creator, how can you start to show up every single day as that version of self, having your hair, your makeup done, a beautiful outfit on? If you say that you are a really successful breathworking coach, how can you show up every single day as that version of yourself? Showing up for your client, showing up for yourself. How are you moving throughout your day? And like the most simple nuances make the world of a difference. How are you getting up every morning? Do you snooze your alarm? How are you brushing your teeth? What food are you eating? How are you fueling your body? Like all these little things over time, honestly, make the biggest difference. Because the thing is, our brain doesn't actually know the difference between what we imagine versus what is actually real. And this is the same thing with emotions. I want you right now to think of a moment in your past that made you really upset. And you can almost feel that feeling in your body, in your chest, in your stomach. Right? So the brain doesn't actually know the difference between what is real versus what is fake, what is made up, what is a continuous thought that doesn't actually serve you. So why am I even telling you this? Because with this fun information, we can start to play with it. We can start to stretch our imagination. We can start to call in the most impeccable things in our world. And the thing is, our language is ultimately what limits us to call in and also to create the life of our dreams. If I want to be as fluffy and up in the clouds and speak like that. And so how can we essentially like manipulate that? Right? And I'm talking about self here. We're not doing this to anyone external in our world. How can we start to take such beautiful ownership of our thoughts, of our actions? How can we ensure that we are doing everything toward the life that we actually want to call in? This is where so much of your world is going to change. And the thing is, your comfort zone exists purely for a purpose. And that purpose is to keep you safe. The brain doesn't actually know the difference yet again between safety versus a really exciting opportunity that you haven't stepped in before. Your brain is straight away going to receive it as like some kind of danger, as some kind of like dangerous thing that isn't actually a good thing for you, when in fact it very much well could be. Right? So it only wants to keep you safe because it's unknown. And when you can create such a beautiful relationship with having trust in the unknown and taking that step before the step appears and starting with the first step. Like I see this so much in my world with a lot of the people I DM on Instagram. And of course, my clients have these conversations before we start working together. It's starting with the first step, not the entire staircase. You don't know what's at the top of that staircase. It's the journey of who you are today in order to get the goal that you want. And this is how I have so much energy and I'm so pumped and thrilled working towards this goal of my new Mercedes Merc. Oh my gosh, guys. I like totally already see myself in it. As I was driving myself to the studio today, like I already know what song I'm going to be playing when I pick up the car. I already know what outfit I'm going to be wearing. I know exactly the restaurant I'm taking my girlfriends to after to celebrate. Is all mapped out. Like how in your goal can you make it? I want you to think when you're going to the movies and you're seeing it in the IMAX and the screen is enormous and it's wrapped all the way around you. How can you plug your goal into that as a movie? Like make it bigger, make it brighter, make the colors more saturated, make it louder. And that's the thing. Remember, your brain doesn't actually know the difference. And this is all subconscious reprogramming work. This is so much of what I've learned in NLP. And this is so much of what I do with my clients. I also have a bunch of reprogramming guided meditations available on my website as well. So all of these things are always linked in the show notes. If you're looking for a really simple, effortless starting step, that is the place for you. And this is exactly how I'm living my life day in and day out, week in and week out. So I was laying on the beach a few weeks ago and it was actually really cool. The sun was out, I was tanning, I was by myself, I had my headphones in, it was busy, like the beach was full of so many people. It was just like a really nice vibe. And then I started to record my own guided meditation. And I've done this a few times in the past where essentially I will script anything and everything I want to call into my world, and I'll record it quite literally in the notes app on my, no, I'll quite literally record it in the voice recording app on my phone. Like every iPhone has it. And I'm laying on the beach recording it. And it's just beautiful. Everything, every single thing I'm like affirming to myself to call in. And then it starts raining. And you can hear like the pitter patter from the rain, like coming down on my phone, on the sand, and just like the energy I felt from laying there and recording, speaking into my phone. And then later, when I listen to that recording pretty much every single morning as soon as I wake up, oh, it's the energy you feel when you're calling in exactly what you want. So, how can you get really goddamn obsessed with what it is you're calling in? And how can you step up and be that version of self today? Not later or next week or when you get your hair done or when things start to slow down. And I'm recognizing this a lot with life being like busy and things happening and this and that. Like that actually is life. There's always going to be something else that is grabbing your attention. So how can you get so laser clear? And this is coming back to raising your boundaries and your standards and being so razor cut clear with your time. Like, yes, who you're seeing and also who you're following on social media, who you're messaging online, what Instagram posts or reels you're actually engaging with. So show me the 5 people you spend most of your time with, and I'll show you exactly how your life is going to be in 5 years. Are you hanging around people who also have the life you want, or are co-creating or are creating the life that they want? And it's not that you're feeding off their energy, it's that you're both in synergy together. And all of the friendships I have in my life, particularly since moving to the Gold Coast, well, yes, since moving to the Gold Coast, the alignment is like hardcore. I explain it as, because I'm so crystal clear with the types of individuals I have in my world, in my circle. And I learned this a few months ago as well. Your environment, and I've always known this actually, it just made it even clearer for myself. Your environment dictates, your environment dictates your income. Your environment shapes your income in so many ways. And yes, this is your home. This is also the gym you go to. This is also the restaurants and cafes you go to. This is also the shopping centers you go to. How can you start to insert yourself in more luxury, affluent spaces if that's exactly what you're wanting to call in more of? It's all about aligning yourself with that next version self. And of course, I'm using examples from my own life and what I'm calling in more of. And you just map this across for you. I want you to envision now that your next version self, your higher self, she's still standing beside you. Maybe if she has gone away, I want you to imagine her gently coming back into your world and she's sitting or standing beside you. And remember, you can definitely do this if you are walking and driving. So I want you to turn to her and ask, what is something you're doing right now that your future version self is yelling at you to stop? Is it someone she's speaking to? Is it how she's communicating? Is it how she's showing up online? What is that? And the reason this question is so powerful is because it creates contrast between who you currently are versus your future you. And the thing is, it's never a competition between you and the people around you and your circle around you. It's always you v you. It's you versus you. So how can you get so obsessed with your own growth? How can you get so obsessed with yourself? And I do not mean this in an egotistical way at all. This is coming from the lens of how can you be so turned on by the work that you're doing, by the content that you're sharing, by what you're putting out there in this world. How can you be so obsessed with everything that you're creating? If you are a content creator, a business owner, and you're sharing content online to social media, which I'm pretty sure 99.99% of our listeners are, how can you be so obsessed with what you're sharing? Are you somebody who you post your stories and you just spend so long just looking at your own stories? You put up a reel and you love to watch it again and again. You're putting up a carousel, a post, and you just love exactly what you're putting out in the world. It's the energy behind what you're posting that people are then going to feel externally. And it starts with you. And so if you're thinking of this really big, beautiful goal that you have, and it is squirming and it is making you squirm inside, it is making you freak out a little bit, that's how you know you're exactly on the right track. So when I set this exact goal and I was looking at the amount of money I'm going to be making in the next 3 months, I'm like, oh, for a second, I thought, is that too short of a time frame? And straight away I was shut down. No, it is not. You know exactly what you have to do. And that's the thing. It's never the strategy. It's never the steps. It's never like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. Where do I start? That stuff is so simple to figure out. It's actually how you go about doing those things. It's how you go about showing up day in and day out to achieve the tasks that you actually want to achieve. And lucky for you, this is the work I do with so many of my clients. Creating these action steps is incredibly simple, and you can even start right now. And I'm always like reflecting on this as well with clients and myself when I'm thinking of things that I want to call into my world. Who is that version of me that has that already, that is living that life? And what is she doing that I am not doing currently? How is she moving? How is she showing up? And this is straight away where we are going to find the clues and the hints as to what we can start to mold and change in our world. So I feel like I'm entering a season of a very single focused season where I'm moving with so much precision and discipline with my tasks and things to grow and build my business, and also in so much of my lifestyle. So I'm somebody who's been obsessed with group fitness and doing group classes for, I think, since I was 19, so over 10 years now. And recently I've been stepping into the weights area of my gym and doing a solo session. And I haven't done this in the longest time. And let me tell you, it's day 2 of doing this and I'm obsessed. I love it because I'm so locked in and focused on my own journey here. I'm not having to worry about rushing to a class at a certain time or booking in. And the best part is that my gym is quite literally next door to my house. So I'm able to walk on over anytime that I desire, get my workout, get in, get out, have it complete. And I have a program written for me by my friend who is a PT, and I just feel so set up for success. And this is what I mean where I'm sharing how I'm showing up in other areas of my life that are then going to ripple into my business and calling in my Mercedes Merc and creating all the financial abundance that I'm going to be making in the next 3 months. So I want you to ask yourself and do like a bit of a life order. What are some things in your world, in your lifestyle, in your routine that you can start to mix up? Like these can be so simple. So this is like such a random example and I love to share these examples on the show. I used to always get SNS on my nails. I think I've been getting my nails for like 3-4 years. And I always used to get SNS on my nails. And then I reckon it was about a year ago or 2 years ago, using this exact concept, this exact model, I'm like, okay, I want to start showing up differently. So I started to get acrylic nails. And I just started to notice really small shifts in my world starting to change purely because I made such a small, subtle shift that no one else knew about apart from me. And that's the point. It's like, how can we start to show up differently for ourselves? How can we start to move differently? Like, I've had a really big focus on my health and fitness recently, particularly since moving to the Gold Coast. Interestingly enough, when I was living in Adelaide, I was such a gym junkie. I was obsessed. I would go to so many classes back to back. It's all I would do. Granted, the gym community was such a big part of my life in Adelaide. And then since moving to the Gold Coast, my gym community, unfortunately, didn't come up to the Gold Coast with me. And so I was like, felt a little bit lost in terms of not really finding my flow or that natural motivation because going to the gym for me in Adelaide was such a big social part of my life. And so it has actually taken me quite a bit of time to get back into my flow and back into my rhythm of finding a routine that I really am obsessed with again. And because of that little dip, that little lull, I've also noticed some of my health, more so just like the foods I'm eating. I've been just like very, I want to say like reckless with my eating. I used to be very disciplined and never, ever, ever eat like desserts, sweets, chocolate, like junk food, unhealthy food. I have like air quotes here because that's a whole other topic. And recently, since moving, I've just kind of been in a fuck it kind of attitude. And that's definitely caught up to me. I don't even know how we got on this topic. We're going to roll with it. And so now that I'm back in my solo gym session phase at the gym, of course, when you're moving your body that way, other things in your life start to ripple. And so, of course, I'm making much better food choices. I'm eating whole foods again. I'm having breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm eating carbohydrates in every single meal, like the simplest of simple shifts that probably any average person would roll their eyes at and be like, well, I do that already. Yet for me, that was a journey I had to go on for whatever reason. And now I'm at a place where I love the foods I'm eating, my diet. I feel so great in my body. I'm getting so strong again. And I'm just so excited that this is the season I've entered. And I know it's rippling so perfectly and helped me on my 90-day sprint. So I feel like this episode kind of went everywhere. I sometimes kind of went everywhere. I am excited to hear what really landed for you the most in this episode. And if you are looking for guided support and to call in your dreams, your desires, building that dream brand or business that you have, you need to reach out to me. Have a conversation. Let's have a chat to see if this is something I can support you with. And I would love just to hear from you and to hear exactly what you're actually working towards. All of my links to reach out to me, my socials are always in the show notes below. I appreciate you sticking around to the end of this episode, and I will speak to you in next week's episode. Bye, guys.